This is South Korea's most thrilling horror film, 6 Terrifying Nights. What exactly did they experience? I will provide an in-depth analysis at the end, and everyone is welcome to join the discussion. Without further ado, let's start today's film, 6 Nights, the second night. Xiaomei is a homebody who spends her time at home making handmade items with yarn. That day, she suddenly received a message asking if she could make 120cm teddy bears within 10 days and requiring her to chant a spell during the process. Xiaomei thought it was a crazy person and tossed her phone aside, but then that person sent another message saying they would first pay a deposit of 5 million and buy the finished bears at 3 times the original price. Xiaomei became interested, took the order, and sent her address. The next day, when she went out to get a delivery, a foot suddenly blocks the door. Xiaomei was terrified. Right after the 2 people wearing bear headgear left, she frantically shuts the door. Then she opens the box and found it contains the materials sent by the person who asked her to make the bears. She was instructed to use only the materials provided, chant the spell on the paper while making them, and record it with a tape recorder. Xiaomei looked at these unreasonable demands, feeling speechless when suddenly a text message came in, telling her that the payment had already been transferred to her account. Xiaomei was instantly delighted. Thus, she began to get busy. As more and more knitted bears were completed, her speed also increased. At this point, something strange happened. Repeating like this over and over, her spirit began to become listless. The needle pricked her hand and a few drops of blood dripped down onto the teddy bear. Then, just like that, Xiaomei fainted and the blood disappeared from the teddy bear as if it had been absorbed. She finally finished making 100 bears. She packed the finished bears into a box and placed it at the door, after which the people wearing bear headgear took the box away. As Xiaomei returned to the house, she noticed through the surveillance that they left a box in the yard. Xiaomei took the box back, opened it curiously, and found a remote control and an invitation for the sale of a malicious doll inside. She didn't pay much attention and tossed the box aside. At night, Xiaomei was woken up by a phone call while sleeping, and she reluctantly answered it. The call was from a man. He asked Xiaomei if she had seen a pink box that was dropped when they went to pick up the goods today. Xiaomei complained to the other person about how late it was, but the other person ignored her and asked again. Xiaomei angrily hung up the phone. After hanging up, she couldn't fall asleep. She took out that box again, used the remote control to turn on the TV, and saw a home shopping program on it. At the beginning, the host was giving the opening remarks, then introduced the product, which was the kind of teddy bear that Xiaomei knitted. The host also mentioned that many people got cut while knitting and said the doll could control others. At this point, a guest appeared on the show, wearing a headpiece and tied to a chair. The host said that as long as you attach the other person's birth date and 8 characters to the bear, you can control them.
Then it was demonstrated.
The host then picked up a hammer and nails and struck the bear's body. A horrifying scene occurred as blood actually flowed from the guest's body. Xiaomei was terrified and called her best friend Yingzi to tell her about the situation. Yingzi thought she was joking and hung up the phone. She then dialed the police, but just at that moment, just as she was about to explain the truth to Uncle Hat, she saw herself in the host's eyes, which scared her into dropping the phone. Then the host said someone had leaked the show, and now the show needed to be terminated. After the male guest stopped breathing, snow appeared on the TV. At this moment, Xiaomei suddenly woke up from the sofa, thinking it was just a dream. Then the mysterious person looking for the box sent a message, still asking if she had seen the box. Xiaomei replied no, she had thrown the box into the corner of the room, but the remote control kept beeping. She then removed the batteries from the remote control. Just as it quieted down, the mysterious person looking for the box sent another threatening message, scaring Xiaomei into quickly calling Yingzi, but Yingzi did not answer the phone.
Immediately after.
Xiaomei seemed like someone was choking her. At this moment, the person wearing the bear head appeared and then dragged Xiaomei away, leaving behind only a small bear with her birth date and 8 characters attached. When Yingzi arrived, she couldn't find Xiaomei, only Xiaomei's phone and a teddy bear with Xiaomei's birth date written on it. Yingzi saw the remote control, put in the batteries, and turned on the TV. It was still that shopping program on the screen. Then she saw a person wearing a mask, spitting fresh blood, sitting on a chair. Just as the host was tormenting the guest, Yingzi suddenly noticed the tie in the guest's hair. Wasn't that her friend Xiaomei's? Terrified, she quickly dialed the police.
The film ends here.
This film fully showcases human greed, using high rewards as bait for people like Xiaomei who rely on low-income manual work. The 5 million deposit directly broke through her psychological defenses, prompting her to overlook bizarre requirements like chanting spells and recording the entire process. This setup also reflects how in reality, many people, tempted by high profits, easily ignore potential risks and gradually fall into traps set by others. As the number of weavings increased, her state gradually became alienated, with mechanical movements and a vacant stare, as if controlled by some force. It suggests that in repetitive utilitarian actions, one might gradually lose self-awareness. The moment her blood dripped on the teddy bear, it signified the completion of some ritual, which is why the box was left for her. In the end, curiosity and greedy desire still caught hold, leading oneself down a path of no return. This is Old Dung Talks Movies. If you like it, remember to follow. See you next time. Bye bye.